welcome to the No Spin News, Monday, June 2nd, 2025. Stand up for your country. Well, millions of people all over the world followed my Marco Polo adventures to Japan, South Korea, and especially China. Got back late Saturday night, still a little woozy. You cross the international date line, you don't know what day it is, what time it is. But I have a lot to report from the 9-day trip to you tonight. And I hope you read my Sunday column and the messages of the day today and last Friday, because I don't want to be redundant. I go into detail there, so if you didn't read them, you can read them after this, and everything will come into focus. This was an extraordinary journey, one that I did not anticipate, and that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So I got a call, 6 weeks ago, from a friend of mine at Harvard. And he said, "You're going to China?" And I said, "Yeah, how do you know?" And he said, "Because the Chinese government just called me." Now, why would they do that? Because Beijing puts a lot of people in the Kennedy School at Harvard, where I received a master's degree. And they do a lot of business, China, with Harvard. Very prestigious for a Chinese government official to attend Harvard University. So they keep an eye on things, and they knew that I was an alumni. Now, how did they know I was going to China? Because I made a reservation at the Four Seasons Hotel across an American embassy, and everybody who's from America that goes in there, the Chinese government knows within 2 hours. Isn't that interesting? China is the most intense surveillance state this world has ever seen, by far. And I document that in my column. And again, I hope you read it. So anyway, the offer was we would like Mr. O'Reilly to come to Beijing to do a seminar, a question and answer with some Chinese government officials who are very worried about the second Trump administration. So I said, okay, because that's my job, right? My job is to look out for you by being a journalist and assembling facts, and also to look out for my country. So I'm going in. And I did. It worked out great. The Chinese are very, very respectful to me, and the rules were simple. Everything was off the record, in the sense that no quotations and no names mentioned except mine, which is all right with me. They videotaped the entire, it was close to 2 hours. But if they use it, any of it, then I get to use it too. That's the deal we have. And I do believe they will adhere to that deal. The reason they taped it was there were even bigger shots watching this on closed circuit. Okay. Now, when I go in, I tell the truth, but I was not as bellicose as I can be. And I told them I wouldn't be. I said, I'm not here to debate you on policy. That's not what I'm here to do. You want to know something about the USA or President Trump, I will answer your question. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you, but I'm not debating. So tariffs and all that, not my job to debate. My job is to tell you what's happening in America, which I did. They accepted that. And they asked good questions. But it took a turn when I said, I have a proposal for you, which I've been working on for a while, and it's called the Partnership for Peace and Prosperity between the United States and China. And I laid it out, and they were stunned. I said, if the United States and China were to ally together and control the crazies of the world, Iran, Putin, other insane things, North Korea, if we were to establish an economic partnership that led to stability, that would be an unbelievable thing. Now, most Americans do not know that China and the United States is the most important story by far in the world. You mention China, their eyes glaze over. They don't pay attention. They want to hear about Puff Daddy. They don't know. This is by far the most important story for you, because what happens with the United States and China will influence how much money you get and how much money you will keep. And it is a life and death situation. Again, it is not my job to make policy for the Trump administration, but I laid out a pathway where both countries could work together. I did inform President Trump I was going, and yesterday I debriefed him for 30 minutes on the telephone. That was off the record. I cannot tell you what I said, but he got pretty much everything you're going to get, okay, including the columns. And the president listened very intently and asked very good questions, which he always does when I talk to him. And I'm not patronizing anybody. I'm telling you the truth. Anyway, by far the most important thing to the Chinese government is Taiwan, not the tariffs, and not the day-to-day, you violated this, you can't have Chinese students, this is that. Nah, all of that can be taken care of. Taiwan is the big one. And I basically said, after they came at me with Taiwan, I said, look, the United States government under President Trump is not going to let you invade Taiwan and take it over without a brutal, and I mean that literally, a brutal reprisal. Donald Trump does not want to look like a weakling. He doesn't want to look like President Biden. And this was interesting. The Chinese government had no use for Biden at all, calling him weak and unfocused. No use. They're happy Trump's in there because they think they might be able to get some deals out of this. Now, when I was driving around China, because we went up to the Great Wall, and all the pictures are on BillO'Reilly.com, I didn't see one American car. My son saw a couple. I didn't see any in Japan. I didn't see any in South Korea. So that whole tariff thing is real. There's no cars for Americans in there. And China's 1.5 billion people, 5 times our population. Now, I'm going to read you some questions coming up. A lot of people don't understand why the Chinese people allow this surveillance communist state, because they have never for one day known freedom. In their entire history, China has never known a day of freedom. It's exactly the same thing in the Revolutionary War, and 50% of the colonists, the Americans, supported the king. It drove George Washington crazy. And John Hancock and Samuel Adams, they couldn't get the Tories, they were called, to support the revolution, because those people never knew a day of freedom. They were under the king in England. They come over here, we got freedom. What's freedom? In Beijing, the concept is just, why? They don't have a free press. They don't see, every single thing is controlled. When you are born in China, you get an ID card. Okay? You have to carry the ID card in your diaper. Okay? If you don't have it and the authorities stop you, you're arrested. Every Chinese has to carry an ID card every second of every day. And that's just the start of it. They confiscated 2 of my pens for no reason. Woman was about 22, goes, I'm taking your pens. In Chinese, I had a translator. I said, why? I'm a journalist. What am I going to write with? Took the pen for no reason. And that's small ball, but just give you an idea. So anyway, on the Taiwan thing, I said, this can be worked out. The year 2049 is the 100th anniversary of Mao Zedong's takeover, communist takeover. That's when the government wants Taiwan in the fold, but they're going to have to carve out autonomy for Taiwan for the West to go along with it. It's doable. Hard. Very hard. Tariffs are hard. All of this is hard. Okay, so I got a bunch of mail. Richard, Chinese government not trustworthy. Okay. They've been lying, cheating, and stealing for decades. I find it interesting that you would propose a deal that would allow them to jointly police the world. Your proposal sounds a lot like a one world government laid out in the book of Revelations. Okay, look, Richard, if you want to be a pinhead and say, we're not dealing with the Chinese because we don't trust them, then you're going to have World War III. Coming, get ready, get your food, get your bunker. Barry, Taiwan will make or break point of closure cooperation between China and USA. Their enthusiastic response for you when you said a closer partnership may be necessary was a good sign. I live in Saipan. That's Japan territory. Barry, I don't know if they were enthusiastic about me, but they weren't bored. They listened. Nancy, California. During your recent trip to China, you spoke with the heads of the Chinese Communist Party in an effort to obtain a close relationship with the U.S. Stated the Chinese wanted most was the annexation of Taiwan, which is a free country. Are you willing to sell out Taiwan? I'm not selling out anybody. I'm trying to get an arrangement. I'm trying to avert World War III. That's what I'm trying to do. Arrangement could be made. Andrea Malcuso, Carrollton, Texas. Regarding your off-the-record trip to China, you allowed to discuss the Q&A with President Trump? No. I don't. When I talk to the president, this, I said, this is off the record. This was off the record. Now, the Chinese knew I was talking to Trump because I told them that up top. I tell everybody up front. They knew. I said, what happens here is going back to him. Richard, I thank God every day I was born in the USA, greatest country. Fortunately, a politician and radical activists in the country would love to have totalitarianism. China is not the only country guilty of this oppression. True, but it's way beyond anything. I was in Spain when Franco was there, been to Cuba, Romania when the Soviets ran it. Not close. One more. Lisa. Far left could learn a thing or two about the brutal communists as far as social order goes. Yeah, and San Francisco was big. I wrote about that in the message of the day on BillO'Reilly.com. They're appalled. They go, what is this? Because they all have relatives living in San Francisco. I go, this is progressivism. This is what happens. Okay. Now, the day after I left, there was an announcement by Secretary of State Marco Rubio that some Chinese students would be deported. Big mistake. I haven't heard much about it. So maybe they're pulling back. You don't insult your adversary, just like you don't insult Putin. Okay? That gets you nowhere if you want peace. Okay? That's not helpful in the big picture. And then at MIT, there was a nut, Megha Vermore, who gave, she's the president of senior class, MIT, and then she gets up there and bashes Israel. Roll tape.
Last spring, MIT's undergraduate body and graduate student union voted overwhelmingly to cut ties with the genocidal Israeli military. You called for a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. And you stood in solidarity with the pro-Palestine activists on campus. You faced threats, intimidation, and suppression coming from all directions, especially your own university officials. But you prevailed because the MIT community that I know would never tolerate a genocide.
All right, radical left people, genocide, blah, blah, blah. MIT is not letting her graduate with everybody else, and they're trying to punish her like that. But they had to know she was going to do that because she's a known radical. Hey, folks, listen to what I am about to share with you. It's important. If you suffer from fatigue, memory loss, achy joints, or just find yourself getting sick all the time, then check out Strong Cell. You used to get NADH in an IV, but not anymore. Strong Cell's proprietary formula delivers NADH in a way your body can absorb. It's the first NADH supplement that works. There's over 30 trillion cells in your body. Take care of them so that they can take care of you. Results include a sharper, clearer mind, increased natural energy throughout the day, so no more afternoon crashes. It's an easy daily 2-ounce drink. You'll feel the impact in 3 to 6 weeks. Invest in your health. Visit strongcell.com/Bill. Use code BILL to get 20% off. That's strongcell.com/Bill. Okay, YouTube. In the month of May, we have more than 30 million views of our stuff on social media, and we're led by YouTube. We have a channel. It is free. YouTube.com/Bill O'Reilly. YouTube.com/Bill O'Reilly. I'm doing the charges that Donald Trump is racist. They're back because of South Africa. That is my commentary that drops today. Get on board with this. 30 million people all over the world. Okay, so YouTube and social media have been very good for us. All right, we're everywhere. All right, I'm only going to read one letter because I had the letters at the top of the program. Two. I got Susan Atkins in Ontario, Canada. Hey, Bill, just curious, you were friends with Donald Trump before he became a politician. Did you ever think of him as president? No. My line was at a Knick game. He said, I might run for president. I go, what country? Bolivia needs somebody? I had no idea. He proved me wrong. Whoa. There was a letter that says, hey, you're invited to speak over in Beijing to the communists, but colleges won't invite you to speak in America. And that's true. They're afraid of me because they don't want the radical crazies to do what they would inevitably do. They can't control their campuses. So I can speak in Beijing under the most, stringent surveillance state in the world, but I can't go and talk at any college in America. Okay, Father's Day, June 15th. Best gift is membership to BillO'Reilly.com. I don't know if you don't signing up here, concierge or premium membership. Boy, oh boy, this helps. And you get a free book, any book you want. You get the book that's coming out in September, Confronting Evil, all of my killing books, anyone you want free with a membership, and that is a great gift for Dad or Granddad. And if you really like Dad or Granddad, you get them all the books. You get a bundle. So all 13 killing books plus Confronting the Presidents, and that is a fantastic book. And it'll keep Dad quiet for a long time. I think I drove my son crazy on the trip. Because as a father, you want to teach him and guide him, and I think I drove him nuts. So, anyway. Word of the day, do not be obtuse. I know a lot of obtuse people. OBTUSC, obtuse. Back with a final thought. I'm going to fill you in on some of the other vacation highlights. Summertime expenses pile up quickly. Vacations, gas, college tuition, camp. Many of us swipe credit cards to cover all of it, leading to credit card debt. Homeowners, there is a way out, not with magic, but a real plan to reset your finances. American Financing builds tailored plans. They assess your situation, what you owe, and how your home's equity can work smarter for you. You could consolidate high interest debt into one manageable plan. No upfront fees, no pressure. Just real advice from real people. Customers save an average of $800 a month, reducing stress, gaining clarity. So start today, and you may delay 2 mortgage payments. Consultants are available 7 days a week. It only takes 10 minutes to get started. Please call American Financing today, 888-462-9557, 888-462-9557, AmericanFinancing.net/Bill. Crime at an all-time high, so you might already own a firearm, but less lethal options can avoid the financial and mental repercussions of pulling the trigger of a gun. Like Berners' less lethal launchers, designed to incapacitate attackers with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. Even better, Burner just announced their all-new compact launcher. It's the same size as a smartphone, fires at 400 feet per second to deliver a hit like a sledgehammer. The compact launcher pairs maximum concealability with maximum force. Plus, more than 80% of its components are sourced right here in the USA and hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Burner is legal in all 50 states, requires no background checks, can be shipped to your door and trusted by police departments and government agencies worldwide. So please visit Byrna.com today. That's BYRNA.com. Okay, final thought of the day. So here's how it went down. JFK in New York got on Japan Air. Great. Only problem with Japan Air, they couldn't speak English. Flight crew had a lot of problem with English. So, but the flight and the plane, clockwork. Nothing in America comes close as far as the plane's concerned. It's disturbing. Boom, right over to Tokyo, okay? Out of the car for, where do we stay? We stayed the Intercontinental Ana Hotel. Beautiful. Go to Tokyo, Intercontinental Ana. Okay. Then I went out to Kamakura Buddha. You saw the picture, I hope, of my father in 1945 in the occupation. My son and I took the same picture. Okay? This was a very emotional thing. There's my dad. He was in Japan for, I think, 8 months, and there are the guys. And I'm going to frame that up, and that is a legacy picture. Then went to Kyoto, the imperial city, which was not bombed. Hung around there for a little while. Then to Osaka. Flew from Osaka to Beijing on Air China. Beautiful. Beautiful. Much better than anything in the United States. We land, they confiscated my pens. Got to the hotel. Forces isn't beautiful, and I told you about it. Then we went from Beijing to Seoul, South Korea. Again, China Air, and it's great. Then went up to DMZ. Disappointing. Only Americans up there. I was stunned. There were a lot of Koreans. Okay, this was Saturday. No Americans. And you couldn't see very much. You really couldn't get it in perspective. I know it's dangerous. I understand Kim Jong-un is a total ridiculous idiot. But I'm a little disappointed with that. Now, in Korea, that is the closest society to America because American troops are there and saved their butts over there in the Korean War. They'd all be communists now, if it wasn't for us. Seoul, bustling big city. Not a lot to see there. But I like walking around and checking it out. But their economy is booming in Tokyo, too. A lot of commerce, no American stuff. I mean, there's Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken and that, but they're franchises that are run by the locals. But again, as I mentioned, no cars. And I didn't see a lot of big, heavy American stuff there. So we're taking it all in. The folks, across the board, everybody was very nice. I ran into a lot of Americans. In Japan in particular, there were a bunch of people that were there, and everybody knows me, which is good. I like talking to people. And then we were talking to this Korean guy at the DMZ, lives in Seoul, in this and that, and he gave us some tips about, where to go and what to do. You got to be in shape, by the way, to go on these trips. That Great Wall was some kind of wall. As you know, the Great Wall, listen to this. This is, to me, the most spectacular place to visit in the world. It's better than the pyramids. And I've seen all the pyramids. So the Ming Dynasty built the wall, 1368 to 1644. It was a 300-year experience. It goes more than 13,000 miles of this wall. Okay, 400,000 people were killed in the 300 years building a wall. because it's way up on a mountain. I don't know how they even got the stuff up there. It's you see it. And the Chinese government, that's their big tourist thing. They keep it in good shape. But I did about half what you could have done. My son did more. He's a lacrosse player. His legs are better shape. But I was just in awe of how human beings could do this. Now, they built the wall originally because of the Mongol warriors on horseback coming in and doing all kinds of stuff like the Vikings did in Ireland and England. Same thing. But I'll tell you what, I've been 86 countries now, seen it all. That was the most impressive attraction I've seen on this earth. So we're glad we're back. No place like home, right? No place like the USA. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.